Yes, you can start recording.
All right. Good afternoon, Rotarians of RCN and our guests to RCN. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I will be your hostess, I guess, for this afternoon. So we can go ahead and get started. And so turn it over to you, President Mike.
All right. Well, welcome to all our Rotarians and guests today. To this final meeting for the month of January 2022. I want to send out a special welcome to Rotarian Derek Smith, who's presenting today on the topic, Rotary Means Business. Now turning it back over to you, MC for today, Rotarian Chantal.
All right. Thank you so very much. All right, so moving right into our program. We have our Rotarian Sheena, who will be leading us with the Rotary Grace.
Hello, and good afternoon to all my fellow Rotarians. The Rotary Grace. O God and giver of all things good, we thank thee for our daily food. May Rotary friends and Rotary ways help us to serve thee in all our days. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Okay, and right along, we now have our loyal toast. So our loyal toast for today, I will raise the loyal toast. So to the Queen and Commonwealth of the Bahamas, please raise your glasses with me. To the Queen and Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
To the Queen and Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
All right, so our Sergeant at Arms, are you ready with your birthday jokes and your birthday activities for us today?
Thanks so much, Madam Moderator. Chantal, it's such a nice house this afternoon. But again, thank you so much. Thank you all so much for the warm birthday wishes. And boy, nothing like a birthday. You just wish they don't stop, you know? You just wish you could have the next day could be a birthday and the next one and the next one, you know, so you can have all these birthday gifts and birthday greetings, you know, but it got to come to that, hey? All good things must come to that. We thank God for another day moving forward, you know. So I want to thank you so much, man. Just been just such a wonderful time. So I'm trusting that everyone on this call is having a beautiful day. I mean, I look outside, man, the sky is just, oh, wow. It's just absolutely beautiful. It's just a gorgeous and a beautiful day, man. I'm hoping that all of us are likewise having a beautiful day likewise, you know, just like it is outside. So I want to welcome you to this greatest club here there is on this side of the planet. The Rotary Club of Nassau, where we enthuse, we incite, we excite, and we motivate you to do service above self, all others. Good. Now moving right along, you know. I like to, you know, give them a little one or two jokes, like Santa similar birthday jokes, but it's not birthday jokes. So, so he said, so this one here, let me get the right one I want for you now, because it's a nice one I want to just say in your hearing now. Couple of them again. So he said, this one I came across, they'll say I started, you know, in 2022 making New Year's resolution. So the chap said, I started to go to the gym this morning and I couldn't find my membership card. A new one is $10 though. But you know, on the other hand, a donut and a coffee just is $3. You guess who saved $7? So that was just funny, absolutely funny. Guess who saved $7? So this morning, my son said it hurt, and I said I asked him, I said, does it hurt on the inside or the outside? So he walks out the front door, goes back in, comes back in, and then says both. You know, moments like this, you know, it got me wondering if I'm really saving too much for college. He got in and come back up. Okay, then is another one. Try and hit the home run or the park. Try and hit that one out the park. Okay. A police recruit, fella trying to join the police force. They'd have to take examination. So he was asked during the exam, what would you do if you have to arrest your own mother? The fella said, me? I'd call for backup. He had arrested somebody, he called it for backup. Oh, I hope those few words light your day a bit and brought some cheer and some light into your day so far. But yes, we just want to welcome everybody, and we want to now ask for those on the call with us. Any Rotarians on the call? Any visiting? Do we have any visiting Rotarians? Any visitors? Any Rotarians on the call? Open up your mic kindly and just introduce yourself for us briefly, please. Do we have any visiting Rotarians on the call? Any non-Rotarians? Any guests?
Yes, this is Chantel. I have a guest. Shelly Bryce is visiting again. She's very excited about joining Rotary, so she's on again today.
Thank you so much, Shelly. Thank you so much, Shelly, for continuing to join and staying connected with us at the Rotary Club of Nassau. We just hope that, not too long, we're gonna have that membership coming over to you shortly. And we're gonna have you roped right in, because once you visit us 3 times, that's it. We own you. So Shelly, get ready. Anyone else? Anyone else we have on the call with us?
Hi, Wayne.
Yes.
Hi, Wayne. Yes, I have my guest for today, Miss Shelette Williams. You can see her on the screen as Shelly Williams, and she's ecstatic about being right here at the right place for the right moment in time.
Amen. Thank you so much. Welcome, Michelle. We just happy to have you here, man. I tell you that you're the band. That's good. That's excellent stuff. Some great stuff there, man. You're the band. So we want to welcome you once, welcome you twice, welcome you 3 times. Anybody else?
I think Owen Coakley has a guest on. I don't know if he can open his mic and introduce his guest.
That's the one the code I called before.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Rotary Chantel. I have a guest, but I'm trying now to look through. I have a couple of guests, but I will up to later on in the meeting. I don't have the names exactly.
Well, Michelle is on.
Okay, I think I have another one as well.
Okay, if you're a guest of Owen, please.
What are the names?
Identify yourself. Any guest of Owen is on? You can identify yourself for us.
Yeah, I see Michelle. Michelle is on so far.
Michelle?
I don't see no more. Yeah, she's
okay. Hi, Michelle. How are you doing, Michelle? Do you want to say hi to the Rotary Club of Nassau? We sure like to hear from you.
Michelle is putting in the chat that she's at work, so she doesn't want to,
yes,
give it away that she's on a Rotary meeting.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Michelle, for joining us. We so appreciative of you joining us. We hope that you'll join us again. And we hope that this meeting will indeed be a great inspiration for you. Okay. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Owen. Good. If there be no other guests, we'll move right along. Are there any apologies? Do we have any apologies? Chantel, any apologies today?
I don't have an apology, but I could probably introduce, I guess, Nadia/Derek's guest. Nadia's husband, Rodney, is on. I know he says he's here to support Derek, but he's also a guest of Nadia.
Nadia, yes. Derek, thanks so much. Thanks so much for joining us. We truly appreciate you being.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Farenda. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Good. You wish to say something?
I'm that Florinda Armstrong. I live in South Cat Island.
Okay, Cat Island is in the house. Wow, Cat Island is in the house. Wow, we always.
Yes, that is my guest.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, Edmund, thanks so much. We always glad to have Satellite Club in Cat Island on the call with us. We're appreciative appreciative of all the great works, and congratulations for all the great works you're doing down there. Good, good,
Herman, I
good.
see another Gilbert was on the call. Is that your guest as well? Or was that you incognito?
No, my guess.
Okay, good. Thanks so much. Thank you all so much. And then I would be remiss if I didn't, Sergeant of Arms, do my duties. And of course, those of you who have your pin on, if you have your pin on, if you do not have your pin on, don't feel shy. We always like to give a gift out. We always like to give a gift out if you don't have your pin on. And I'm quite sure Treasurer Sandra Walker will be, she'll be sending you a love note. Okay, so if you don't have your pin on, it's part of Rotary. You must have your pin on at each time, and you must be truthful. And so if you don't have your pin on, just raise your hand in the group. We'll be more than happy for our treasurer to give you a love note, okay? And with that, Madam MC, with that, when I see your beautiful pin.
Yes.
Madam MC, I turn it over to you. Thank you so much. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. As always, we may not always be laughing with you, but we do enjoy the jokes though. Okay. So thank you for that. Okay. So President Michael, if you want to go ahead then and give your remarks and announcements, please.
Good day again. RCN has been the beneficiary of several donations. This will facilitate our commitment to make a donation to RCOB with regards to the Haiti hand washing initiative. All the clubs here in the Bahamas have made a pledge to donate to this project, and there will be a matching amount from the RCOB Special Projects Fund. Hopefully, we will be making a $20,000 donation to the Hand Wash Organizing Committee. And this will enable the installation and commissioning of a portable water system in a rural township in Haiti. More on this to come as we move ahead with this project. Secondly, RCN / our satellite club in Cat Island will be growing again. We have the induction of several new club members on the island schedule. Details will be forthcoming. And also on the topic of membership, we will be shrinking by one member. Rotarian Zulika has indicated that herself and family are relocating to the United States. Hence, she submitted a request to cancel the membership in RCN. We want to wish her well. Turn it back over to you, Chantel.
Okay, thank you for that. Yes, we do wish Rotarian Zelika all the best, with her and her family as they make this transition. Okay, for my secretary notes, only just a couple of things. We mentioned during the induction last week that the new member packets would be available at Jeffrey Jones. So they are there now and available for pickup. So if you can collect it from there, please, or new members who were inducted last week, you can collect those, okay? And just another reminder for Club Runner, we would like you to go in and look at your information, make sure it's up to date, make sure it's current, especially, including your birthday, so we can make sure recognize you as a club, for your birthday celebrations. Thank you to the new members who've already logged on and provided the information. There are some members who haven't been on in a while, so if you don't mind just taking a few minutes, if you have any difficulty logging in, you can reach out to me, let me know, and I can assist you with getting logged in so that we make sure that we have current information for you. Okay, all right, and that's it for my update. So Treasurer Sandra, is she logged in? I wasn't sure if I saw her log in. Sandra, are you on? Okay, so it doesn't appear that Sandra is on. So Kino, we'll move over to you with membership then.
Chantal, can I just interject there that we've received the billing from RCOB for the second half of our dues. So
Okay.
Sandra's been issuing the billing to each member. And we want to get this, get these dues collected as quickly as possible.
Okay, okay. And for those of you, so Jeffrey Jones is on Rosetta Street and it's open from 7:30 a.m. until 4 p.m. And sometimes it's open on Saturdays as well. You just want to confirm that, but it's open until 11 a.m. on Saturdays, okay? All right, so Keno, over to you now.
All right, all right. As always, it's always good to be in the middle of the day celebrating with my Rotary family. And today we are celebrating Mr. Excellent. I call him Mr. Excellent. Mr. Wayne Miller, whose birthday is today. He's been partying all weekend at the hotel, at the restaurant. Now he's partying with us at RCN. Listen, Wayne, I hope you brought a piece of cake for everybody because we want our cake. What y'all say, RCN family?
President been set last week with the pastries, cake time.
There you go. Boy,
Real
President,
cake,
you right.
real cake.
President, you right on point. You right on point. So that cake came from Manny. That came from RCN, our 60th anniversary. But Wayne, we want to wish you a happy birthday. And come on, let's get the happy birthday song ready for Wayne. Do we have it ready?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
My birthday, come again. My birthday, come again. My birthday, come again. How old am I now? My birthday, come again. My birthday, come again. My birthday, come again. So I can party all night.
All right, Wayne.
Happy birthday.
We wish you the absolute best. And of course, RCN is celebrating this entire month, our 60th birthday. And we want to say to everyone, enjoy being 60 years. Even if you're not 60, we are 60 with RCN. Enjoy your day.
Wayne, can we just add to that? We'll be having a full year of celebration. So every month we're looking to, this thing runs for a whole year. So every month we'll have some special activity during that month, eh?
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. So look forward to the next RCN event where we'll be celebrating for this entire month. Have a great day, everyone.
What? No, nobody's spotlight. I thought you were
Listen,
gonna,
they
put
only
people
give me,
on the spot.
listen, they only give me 2 minutes. So my 2 minutes are enough.
I giving you 2 more minutes, please. I want to see who we can find today for not meeting up with their buddy.
Listen.
You threw that challenge last week.
Listen, I have a surprise. I told you I was going to get what you call it, the Starbucks surprise.
Yes.
For anyone who could quickly tell me something about their buddy. I need 2 buddies that has to be together. Anyone who could tell me some information about their buddy, let's go. Who's the first one? Who could share some information about their buddy?
What?
No
Nobody's
one?
taking that up?
Nobody?
I tried to see if my buddy is on.
Maybe you should remind us of who our buddies are.
Listen, I sent that out about 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. I sent that to everyone. It's in the chat.
Arlene, you on?
Too
Who's
late for
that?
that.
Who's that? Samita? Samita, who's your buddy, Samita?
I'm looking to see if Charlene on, but I think I put both of us on the spot.
That's all right. Go. Let me hear something.
Hi, I'm on, but unfortunately I'm on a work call. Sorry.
But listen, Samita, tell us something about Charlene Seeley.
Charlene is dynamic. She's awesome. She's beautiful. She's been a Rotarian for such a very long time. She's a contributor. She's a lawyer. Her smile will just
All that
brighten
is
up
true,
any
but a lot of
room.
it is fluff.
Be careful.
That's too general.
and she is just a motivator who will encourage you to push and get the job done. Amen. She's a transformer for her community at large. That's Charlene, my buddy.
That's what I'm talking. Well, Samita, sound like you have won yourself Starbucks. Let me know. I could drop it off to you. You've won something from Starbucks. Where's your office? Anyway, inbox me and let me know. I can send it to you, okay?
Yes, sir, I will.
So I'm going to challenge everyone, please. I'll send it again. I'll send the buddy listing again. Make sure getting in touch with your buddy. Every week, we're going to do a buddy spotlight. So who knows, you could be chosen next. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Thank you. Your 2 minutes officially up now. Thank you.
All right.
All right. So as we move and continue on with our program, you know, we here at RCN like to get all our new members, you know, make sure they get their feet wet, you know, get on the ground running. So newly inducted, another one, Monique Palmisano, we would like you to do an introduction of our guest speaker today, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. Past President Derek is the compliance officer and MLRO for CG Atlantic's group family of companies in the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos. The top 40 under 40 leader is regarded as a senior contributor to in the Bahamas compliance and anti-money laundering space, where he facilitates training in the areas of business, continuity management, information security governance, organizational resilience and equality. Past President Derek is a governance, risk, and compliance professional for more than 20 years with a record of leadership, innovation, and mentorship. Past President Derek is a past group compliance officer and MLRO at a Terralex member law firm, Higgs & Johnson. Past Assistant Vice President of Fiduciary Risk, I guess I get that right. Past Assistant Vice President of Compliance and past Assistant Manager of Internal Audit at a Wolfsburg Group member bank city, and a past auditor at a Big Four accounting firm, Deloitte. He is also a holder of the Certified Anti-Money Laundering Specialist, CAMS, as a community service leader. Past President Derek is a member and past executive of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity, Inc. His civic and youth development in the Bahamas further includes a youth ambassadorship for the Bahamas to the Caribbean youth program in Jamaica in 2001. Additionally, he is a former center manager and executive advisor for 14 years with Junior Achievement, Bahamas Entrepreneurship and Financial Literacy Program. In his Rotary life, past President Derek is a level 1 Bequest Society member and a Paul Harris Fellow +1. Additionally, he is a charter member, charter treasurer, past public relations chairman, past youth service director, past vice president, past foundation chair, and past president of the Rotary Club of Old Fort in Nassau, Bahamas. He is the 2020 to 2022 Rotarian Means Business Chair of Rotary District 7020. Immediate past President Derek is married to the Rotarian, the Shanta, and their union has 4 children. Let's welcome Mr. Past President Derek.
Thank you so very much, Rotarian Monique, for the introduction. And it's very good to be here with the Rotary Club of Nassau, celebrating 60 years of excellence. And I wish you many more years of continued excellence. So what I'm going to be talking about today is business agility during a pandemic. And some persons feel that this topic was taboo, 2 or 3 years ago. Some business executives, some C-suite leaders actually would have looked at business continuity as a novelty. And as you fast forward to now, you would realize that it's a way of life. It's considered a new normal, or what is considered the current normal versus a novelty topic. So I hope you enjoy. I'm going to keep it, as I always indicate when I speak to audience. One of my French lecturers at the College of Bahamas made it very simple. She walked into class one day and said, I'm going to kiss you every time I come to class, which means I keep it simple, stupid. I am a full proponent of the fact of keeping information digestible for everyone. So let's get into the topic. Today, we're going to talk about what is a Rotary Fellowship. We're going to talk about Rotary Means Business Vision, just very lightly, because I did speak about the foundation of Rotary Means Business last year. We're going to talk about the meat of the presentation, which is organizational agility, business continuity, and we'll have a question and answer period. So let's jump right into it. So Rotary Means Business as a fellowship consists of and share a common interest in recreation activities, sports, hobbies, professions. These groups help to expand your skills, foster vocational development, and enhance the Rotary experience by exploring interest while developing connections around the world. So what's the vision? RMB's vision is simply to encourage Rotarians to support the success of their fellow Rotarians. And this is why I felt it was apt as the district chair for Rotary Means Business to speak about something that is topical, which is organizational agility during the pandemic. So let's jump into the meat of the entire conversation, organizational agility. A controversial name, philanthropists and so on and so forth. Bill Gates noted that success today requires agility and drive to consistently rethink, reinvigorate, react, and reinvent. So as we go further, let's jump into what is organization agility. Now we have a little saying based on Aaron de Samet that says that agility is the ability of an organization to renew itself, adapt, change quickly, and it goes on and so forth and so on. What I would like to indicate is that organizational agility is simply an organization's appetite to assess, adapt, and act. Agility is not incompatible with sustainability. As a matter of fact, agility requires stability and sustainability. So let's jump right into the points of organizational agility. First off, step one, which is a big deal that some persons don't take into consideration. You have to frame the problem correctly. We have to learn to understand your problem before implementing a solution. A poorly framed problem may equate to financial wastage, loss of vital time, or even a bigger problem. Go beyond both the symptom and the obvious and frame the problem correctly. Do not be afraid to reframe your problem based on this new set of facts that are provided to you. Step two in organizational agility is to limit change. Only reduce the bottleneck that causes the problem. Let me repeat that. Only reduce the bottleneck that causes the problem. Large changes will be uncontrollable and cause excessive wastage. Figure out what a bottleneck is and why things aren't moving smoothly. When you know where the bottleneck is, be uncompromising in making that change. By accepting the bottleneck and making a change elsewhere, you destroy the change process overall. Just some food for thought. Step three, simplify the change. Do the simplest possible thing to reduce the constraints on the current bottleneck. Change should be simple and effortless. When you make small, simple changes rather than implementing grandiose master plans, change is easier. It helps to involve the people who actually face the problem. You know, what we have seen throughout C-suite executive leaderships, board leaderships, is that we think that we have the greatest minds at the top of the organization who for some reason don't take into consideration every aspect of the organization. And then they have these great change agents that they have with great names, and they come in and they make certain things and changes, and you wonder why the change is not accepted, you know, by every line of the organization. It's because the persons had no buy-in. The persons weren't a part of facilitating what that change actually was. Step 4, subtract before you add. The elimination of structures, processes, or tools that cause problems will be key. The simplest possible thing we can do is usually get rid of blockage. You say, I'm using blockage and bottleneck very consistently, not add something else. Problems do not get solved by adding something on top of a problem. Okay. 5th step is to verify your outcomes. Verify outcomes before calling something a success. I'm gonna just stop right there and smile. Let that sink. Change is successful when the problem is gone, not when the change is implemented. All right, many organizations call change successful when change is implemented, which often leads to change for change's sake and people getting rewarded for doing things that don't help the organization and don't help the persons that make the organization. So that's organizational agility, step by step in a nutshell. So as we move to what has been a very topical point, business continuity, I would start by saying the Rotary means business movement around the world simply was created to ensure that we encourage this type of vocational conversation, this type of networking, and these are the type of conversations that you would hear at a Rotary Means Business Fellowship. The reality is a short presentation like this, although it's 20 minutes, will normally be somewhere along the lines of a day of presentations doing a deep dive, or you would pay in excess of $75 to $100 per person to sit for an hour to listen to information that Rotarians can give you for free. Just think about it. So, business continuity. In my mind, business continuity is the strategic and tactical capability of an organization to plan for and respond to incidents and business disruptions in order to continue business operations at an acceptable predefined level. Reality is, in April of 2020, when I started to write about business continuity, I received a lot of calls, and that's from regulators straight down to the mom and pop stores. And they were like, nowhere you could have planned for COVID-19. And I was a lone voice that basically said, you either pivot or you perish. And I was also a lone voice in indicating that you could have planned for a pandemic. Those who are wary of that statement, I will show you why a little bit later in the presentation. So, you're looking at business continuity, it has several objectives. The first objective is to establish protocols. The second is to identify the location of your critical data and assets. Third is to find weaknesses and propose solutions for those weaknesses. 4 is guides the company through disaster recovery. 5th, prioritize emergency communications. Those are the 5 general objectives of a business continuity plan. So what are some of the top threats to business continuity, you may ask yourself? Physical threats. So in the chat, can somebody give me an idea what they feel a physical threat is? And I don't want Charlene or Shelby to answer. I want some other persons to answer who are not either governance, risk, or compliance professionals on the call. What do you think are some of the physical threats of business continuity? Hurricane, I'm happy you used that. I'm happy you used that, Rodney. Hurricane. Fire, yes, Kino, fire. Good, good, go on. So we got 2 answers. I prefer to place lack of result, yes, Chantel. People, oh man, y'all are hitting. So actually what I'm gonna say here is that you guys are actually moving into various subsets versus just physical. But I thank you. So we're gonna show where they all really fall based on my perspective. Okay, so physical threats, you ready for it? Natural catastrophe, malicious damage, infectious disease outbreak. I can stop right there. We couldn't plan for a pandemic, eh? So the disaster management experts would say to you that a pandemic is a sustained epidemic. An epidemic's root is infectious disease. So really, can we have not have planned for a pandemic? I venture to say we could have. Natural catastrophe, as we have indicated, would have been like, for example, a hurricane, snowstorms, heat waves. Malicious damage could take the look of cyber attacks, malware attacks, so on and so forth. We've heard about them. The Colonial Pipeline. Do you think we couldn't have planned for them? Of course we could have planned for them. Technical threats. Utility, I do apologize because I am in office. So I do apologize. Utility disruptions, equipment failure, cybersecurity, as I indicated. Emotional threats, for those who said people. Employees strike by disgruntled employees, loss of key employees, suppliers and customers, mass resignation. When I started to speak about these things in April and May and June of 2020, persons didn't appreciate it. Let's fast forward to July and August of 2021. All of the reports, you've heard it. What did they call it? Somebody say in the chat what they called it. In July, what was the biggest disruption or impact to business continuity in July and August of 2021? Boom, Rodney, the Great Resignation. The Great Resignation is a result of persons not appreciating the emotional threats to business continuity. The Great Resignation is a result of human resource professionals not being strategically placed within organizations to level set the impact of the emotional and mental health issues that arose from the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm gonna just let that sit with you for a second. But then we have professionals who are saying that we could not have planned for a pandemic and planned for the risks that were involved and would result from the pandemic, both economical or social. Okay, you have a lot of persons who are in key positions who are not having the right conversations in the boardroom. But they're getting paid for being in that boardroom. As we move on, the autonomy of a business continuity plan, I'm just going to list it here. because Nadia only gave me 20 minutes. And I said it's going to be very hard to handle this topic in 20 minutes, but I just want to get persons thinking. I just want to get persons appreciate that Rotary means business, and we should share our business acumen. We should share our business knowledge with Rotarians to better place themselves, whether it be an entrepreneurship, whether it be a partnership, whether it be a big business, whether it be a multinational, whether it be a regional development. We should stop worrying about ticking the boxes as organizations and start thinking risk. So the autonomy of a business plan, of a business continuity process, team roles and responsibilities, risk assessments and business impact analysis. You have no idea how much it drives me insane when persons use them interchangeably, because they are surely not interchangeable. Identifying objectives and setting goals. Crisis communication. Let me stop there. I know I said I was going to list, and I am at about 15 minutes. I only have 5 minutes left. Let me stop the crisis communication. And a lot of these things you can then transfer to your personal lives, about how agile you can be, how agile you can be in your personal business, in your personal life. You can transfer a lot of these skills to your personal life. Crisis communication. I'll just stop at this one for a second. This is often taken for granted, but I would argue that this is equally as important as any other element of the business continuity plan. The plan must have messages that are tailored to your audiences. If I take the financial services sector, I take companies that are regulated by the central bank, you should have communication plans predefined before the crisis. What will you say to the media? What will you say to your staff? What will you say to different levels of your staff? What will you say to the regulator? It is best to plan these things before the crisis. Then when the crisis is coming, to then try and get everybody who's already energized and emotive to make concrete plans. That is an analysis, or that is an equation for a disaster. And we have seen that disaster throughout many of the nation's leaders and business leaders throughout the last 20 months. Another thing persons don't do, after they have the plan, test the plan. See if the plan is sustainable. I can let you know that when I was a part of a multinational, we tested on average no less than 3 times a year regarding business continuity. You know, some persons didn't appreciate it, but now I can say to you comfortably that the place that I worked for, that multinational, has not stepped foot in the office since March of 2020. Unless you wanted to go to the office. As a matter of fact, they built a multi-million-dollar complex on Blake Road that nobody is in, because their business continuity plan is still in effect. It's time to have the right conversations in business and in Rotary, and stop marking time. And with that, I'm at roughly 18, 19 minutes. And I thank you for the opportunity. I wish I could have went into those steps a little bit more. If they're of interest of you, I have a full opportunity at another point in time to really get into business continuity.
Wow, thank you for that presentation. And when you say Rotary means business, man, you stuck to your time. Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for that. Now, we do have a parking lot. You know, if you're available to, be with us after the meeting, the persons have additional questions, or if you want to share anything else, we do have a parking lot if you want to do that. Okay, so thanks.
I'm open. My time is flexible.
Okay, good, good, good. So do we have any questions from the floor at this moment? I saw everyone saying how the presentation was so great, amazing, awesome, powerful. I mean, just some great comments, but are there any questions for our speaker at this time?
Yes, good afternoon, Ratier and Chantal. I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Carl.
Thank you for your presentation, past President Derek. One of the things that the pandemic has shown us shortcomings in the many systems throughout the community. The great resignation in your profession, was that a great surprise to many?
I like the qualification, Kyle. You said, in my profession, was it a great surprise to many? And my honest answer to you is no. Because as a governance, risk, and compliance professional, and see again, persons interchangeably use these things. Oh, hi, Gabby. It's been a good minute. Congratulations on your, chairmanship. Awesomeness.
Thanks very much, Derek.
Good to see you. So, Carl, as a governance, risk, and compliance professional, this is what we handle. We're different from a compliance officer solely. We're different from an anti-money laundering specialist that person's here, but they tend to use them interchangeably. A governance, risk, and compliance professional speaks to all risks involved in an institution or in any particular type of business. They also look at the governance structure, how well it's set up, designed, the framework, how the framework could change based on certain variables changing. Okay? Governance, risk, and compliance professionals promote the idea of HR being strategic, and they should be a staple in a C-suite, which they are not. There's some regulated industries within Europe and within the United States that make it mandatory for the head of HR to be a C-suite member. But on average, in general, you know how we do. We treat HR as if they are personnel officers only. HR are strategic partners. So the governance, risk, and compliance professional, based on your qualification in your question, we're not surprised because we're talking to the HR professionals. We have joint trainings with the HR professionals. People are the key asset of an organization, and they also are the key liability. Okay. I hope I answered that clearly. I'm a little impassioned because
Yes.
I'm excited about this field that I decided to go into.
Thank you for your passion. There are two questions in the chat. I don't know if you're able to see them or you want me to read them out.
You can read them. That's fine.
Okay. So we have a question from Rodney. How do you emphasize the importance of business continuity, of the business continuity plan, the value of risk in general, upward towards leadership from the ground level?
Excellent question, Rodney. And I expect Rodney to always test me. In true transparency, Rodney is my regulator, so I have to be very careful how I answer him, because when he returns, he may test to see if I actually did this within my group of companies. So I'm just going to say I'm not speaking on behalf of CG Atlantic group of companies. I'm speaking as Derek individually. I have to make that disclaimer as my regulator is here. Okay. Now, with that being said, what professionals are not doing, they're not making the business case. Let me say that again. What professionals are not doing, that we are not creating the business case. And what do I mean by that? One of my best friends is the CFO of Doctors Hospital. When we speak business, it's about numbers. So I literally have to take off my marketing hat, my HR hat, my governance risk hat, and I have to go back to my basic accounting at Deloitte and talk numbers with him. Business people talk numbers. And the business persons here can honestly say it, whether they like to say it or not. I can say it. They talk numbers. How does it impact the bottom line? So let me show you how it impacts the bottom line. I have the asset of a strategic HR partner in my wife at home. We speak at length about these topics. Statistically, When somebody walks out the door of your organization because you did not manage them effectively, let's not say they were rude, and let's not say they didn't take the right movements to better themselves. You did not effectively manage them as a manager or inspire them through your leadership to be better. On average, $8,000+ walks out of the door automatically by somebody walking out your door. Because that's the cost to let them go and on board, and depends on the level of that person. You have to put a bonus in place for somebody to give you a recommendation, and then you have to pay the HR partner to go and recruit, and then the time loss on average is about $8,000. That's not the salary that was $40,000. For the last 10 years, the institutional knowledge that you would need to quantify. And these are the type of conversations that are required for persons to appreciate how human resources or how these risks impact their business. And it's just not, oh, our revenue is this, our expenses is that, and oh, the people cost so much money, so we're not going to give them a livable wage rate, or we're not going to increase, the topic for the day, you're not going to increase minimum wage and all the rest of that good stuff. The average is great employees don't leave because of money. Great employees leave because of mismanagement by so-called leaders. Sorry if I step on anybody. I'm not really sorry. I'm unapologetic. I've not changed. Hey, Gabby, I've not changed.
Hey, it's the truth. We work with the truth. So good. Thank you. So we'll take one more question before we move on. So Michelle has a question. What was step 2 that you outlined in your business continuity plan?
Sure, no problem. That's an easy one. So step 2 in the business continuity plan is risk assessments and business impact analysis.
Thank you very much. So appreciate that. So I will now officially call on Herman, Chairman Herman from our satellite club in Cat Island. I mean, he's just been chopping at the bits. He's just been enjoying your presentation so much. So Herman, can go ahead and give your wonderful thanks and praises to our presenter today.
Thank you, Chantel. Oh yes, past President Derek, it was awesome. I enjoyed every minute of those 19 minutes of your presentation. I sure know that others that are on today has enjoyed it as well. We would like to thank you. And saying that your time has been short, I sure know we will reach out to you to come back to continue this awesome conversation and the information that you're feeding to us. So once again, thank you. And it was a pleasure having you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. It's always good to be here. I wish Mark was here today. Y'all should find him, he would have tested me based on, he was one of my bosses back in the day at Deloitte, but it's all good. Thank you.
Mark is not on. He was on earlier.
Oh, okay. He's on. All right. So I didn't check.
Yeah.
I didn't check right before I spoke.
Okay, he was on earlier.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for that, Herman. And we'll continue to keep our connection with IPP Derek. And Derek, and of course, we will make sure that we get this certificate to you, okay?
Thank you.
All right. So moving on, so our Rotarians, guests, and visitors, we will now have the 4-way test. So of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned?
All concerned?
Will it build
good and better
friendships?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And will it be fun?
It will always be fun. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, and our Rotarian Dana, who is also celebrating of a different kind today, but she's celebrating an achievement today. She will lead us in our final toast, the Rotary Toast.
Good afternoon. All the Rotarians and guests who are here, along with those Rotarians who are there, let us join Rotarians everywhere in a toast to Rotary around the world.
Excellent.
Rotary around the world.
Rotary around the world.
Rotary around the
Put it
world.
around the world.
Thank you so much, Rotarian Dana, and congratulations again on your promotion. Okay, President Michael had to leave, but I just want to say thank you all for attending. I see we have Rotarian Dr. Rashan is on today. Rashan, it's so good to have you join us. I know your schedule is so crazy at the hospital, so I'm happy you were able to have the time to join us today. All of our visiting Rotarians who we didn't get to say hello to, and all of our visiting guests, thank you so much for coming out today. You know, Rotary Means Business is always good information to be shared so that we know how to be good Rotarians. And of course, the information can also be used, you know, throughout our professional lives as well. Okay, so thank you again for attending. And Wayne, I will now turn it over to you for our parking lot. As Derek said, he can stick around. So if you have any questions or any other comments that you'd like to share with Derek, we can do so when we get into our parking lot, okay? So Wayne?
Hi, Chantel. Yeah, beautiful meeting, excellent presentation. We really truly want to thank PP Derek Smith for the presentation. And so now I'll open it up, the floor up to anyone who will have any burning questions that they want to perhaps maybe continue to ask Rotarian Derek Smith during this time. Thank you.
Or maybe Derek, I know you had said you'd have liked to talk for longer. I mean, was there any one or two things you would have liked to get in there before the 20 minutes were up?
Wow. Sure, no problem, no problem. I would say is that my significant other will probably tell me keep it short, keep it sweet, honey. But with that being said, as we move into some of the other topic points for business continuity, right? The first one was team roles and responsibilities. And it may seem generic, that point may seem generic, but it's actually very important and very strategic. And the reason why is because you need to appreciate in your business. And the reason why I'm saying this generally is because this is a conversation that a line staff person can have with their supervisor that can move up the chain. Equally, this is a conversation where board of directors should have with senior management, and it should come down. Okay, compliance officers always talk about tone at the top. Governance risk and compliance professionals always talk about tone at the top. I venture to say that this tone should not be at the top. This tone should be consistent throughout every level of an organization. So when you look at what those team rules are, you must identify what is critical to you to maintain the agreed upon level of operation that you wish to sustain in the event of a disruption. The reality is, and I'm sure some of the consultants here that I can see through the participants would agree that if a survey is done, how many of you in the Bahamas have a hurricane plan? You know, maybe 90% of us will put up a plan and say, yes, I know my company has one, or my, you know, I'm aware that one exists. But if you ask somebody how many have a business continuity plan, the reverse would be true, where 10% will say they have a business continuity plan, and the 90% will say no, because people confuse the two. Continuity involves different levels of disaster preparedness plans. A disaster for your telephones going out, a disaster for a cybersecurity attack, a disaster for mass resignation, a disaster for an epidemic or a pandemic. Those are different disruptions that equate or can equate to a disaster. Those then roll up to a plan that has the sight of strategic leadership. Hence the reason these team roles and responsibilities are so important. Okay, the problem is that at the C-suite level, they are so cursory sometimes of their place. And actually, can I say something here? There are several train governance, risk, and professionals that actually posit a different view on this. You know, their view is that governance should only be, you know, visionary. I disagree. You can't have a vision without understanding the pulse of the organization. Hence, you have to understand the team roles and the responsibilities, and you have to document these. And you have to ensure that all of these points are socialized throughout the organization. So then you move to the second one, which is your risk assessments and your business impact analysis, okay? Whether it be an assessment of your human capital capacity, whether it be an assessment of your security, your cybersecurity, or your physical security, okay? Whether it be an assessment of your AML environment, was anti-money laundering environment, whether it be an assessment of your financial risk. These are all different types of risk assessments that tend to follow the same strategic approach. Okay. And because, you know, I love Deloitte, is where I started, is where they gave me many opportunities to learn and develop. I support Deloitte's view on steps to risk management, okay, and risk assessments. You know, I say, you know, speak to Mark on, in this instance, you speak to Lawrence, you know, and talk to Lawrence about it. Okay, Mark, give you Lawrence's number. These are real things that impact your bottom line. So then the third thing was identifying objectives and setting goals. So after you have your team roles and responsibilities understood by every aspect of your organization, you've completed your risk assessments and your business impact assessments. You then look at identifying objectives and setting goals based on every type of disruption that should happen. The reality is you should have succession plans for key roles as identified based on your risk assessment. You see how it all flows from your key roles, responsibilities, to your assessments, to identifying what your objectives and setting goals are. The other side of it is, if you understand the succession, you can articulate this to persons. This can potentially mitigate persons' concern about, you know, where am I moving in a company? If an employee doesn't know where they're moving, it's because their manager isn't managing the process properly. And if the manager is not managing the process, it could be because they're not communicating effectively, or their manager has not set the vision. Hence the reason it's all connected. Hence the reason I'm a proponent of tone throughout the entire organization. You know, and I spoke about crisis communication already. If anybody have any questions on it, please feel free. And I spoke about plan and implementation. Now, some people may say this is theoretical. As a matter of fact, many proponents in suites indicated that this was theoretical 3 years ago. They wish they didn't believe it was theoretical. Think about it. Companies that were able to assess risk on a consistent basis and continuously pivoted are the ones that are now succeeding outside of traditional institutions that we are aware of. You know, I went to a conference in Las Vegas in September, and there was a head of compliance who is very involved with Sophie, a fintech organization, and he was saying in September, we're looking to have a hybrid between a fintech offering and the customary bank. A person's like, no, how do you do that? Because, you know, the regulations are different, and SEC doesn't really know how to regulate you. Let's fast forward to last week. Sophie announced, you know, that they are fintech with a banking license. You know why? Because his company appreciated the governance, risk, and compliance component that him and his team offered, and they went to certain consultants and looked at risk. We have a reactive attitude in the Bahamas and some other places within the world, but let's talk about the Bahamas. We have a reactive attitude. Governance, risk, and compliance requires you to be proactive based on best practice. You know, and the reason why we're having this is because And again, some of my mentors are lawyers. Lawyers look at fact patterns and what is the law. Where governance, risk, and compliance professionals look at best practice and they try to forecast or hedge, for possibilities. And you can move this to your personal life. Think about you and your significant other and you're having a conversation and, you're saying, well, what if this happened? And the person say, well, you're being pessimistic. Or what if the next thing happened? Oh, you're being too optimistic. No, you are sampling different scenarios in the event that it happens so that whichever one happens or a hybrid of one or two happens, you have a potential plan. Yeah,
Hi, Derek.
Shoot, yeah. Shoot.
It's so great to be in this presentation and watch my former classmate deliver in such an excellent fashion.
Thank you.
But yeah, as a millennial, it's so irritating when organizations are afraid to move or to progress. A basic example. Before COVID and the pandemic, nobody realized that it was possible to operate remotely, right? And I have a very important call that just came through, but COVID has shown us that we can do it, and millennials have been saying this from they entered the workplace. So could you just say a bit up on that, please?
Yeah, sure. I'll just toot the horn again. I just want to say that this is not a paid advertisement. I think that Contanza and Mark need to contact me. I had the opportunity 20-something years ago to work remotely through the ingenuity and the forward thinking of Deloitte. 22 years ago. They have different iterations of what we knew at that point in time as AS2, but 22 years ago. Okay, we would go to clients and we didn't necessarily need the physical document. We kept the physical audit file because IFRS required it and certain laws required it. But outside of that, the system was already in place for remote working. And they were testing it. Okay. The problem we're now going to see, now we're going to have is trying to get people back to physical work. Because we've been ingrained that 9 to 5 is required. Okay, or in the accounting profession, the ghost hours are always required in order to hit a deliverable. And the reality is, statistics have shown that profitability and productivity only lasts about 4.5 to 5 hours of a day. And then people start to veer off the curve. So we need to move from how many hours persons are at work to how productive persons are at getting their work done. But you got to talk the bottom line on it, right? And I use this example when I'm speaking regionally. I use this example, right? Person say, well, why are you paying somebody 6 figures versus, somebody, let's say, same education, same certifications, right? 6 figures one person, the next person at $40,000. If that person has the right set of experiences that are acute to your scenario, the answer you will get in 1 minute versus an hour of research is worth the difference in their pay grade. Do you see how you quantify existence versus just speaking contextually? And that's why Lord, for example, the Central Bank of the Bahamas, on their 3rd year of their AML empirical conference. Let's get to the data. I say some weird things, Gabby. I say some weird, and I get in a lot of problems for it, okay? I say things like the risk-based approach is old. Deloitte was doing it from 2000. When they have the management meeting, think about it. When the partner comes in, for that 1 or 2 hours, charge that good $1,500 for 2 hours, and they come and they have these conversations and senior managers come in, what are they doing? They're risk rating you. Then they take your balance sheet and what they say? Okay, what is material? Well, really, materiality, the essence of materiality is about risk. The risk of something happening in this big balance sheet item that will impact your financial stability. And then they still come and say, that, there's a qualified or unqualified opinion, because they didn't necessarily do a deep dive, and then they tell you got to go to forensic versus your normal audit, even though we use those things interchangeably, but I'm not going to talk politics, just in general. Kyle, why are you smiling? Why are you smiling?
Because 22 years ago, remote working was called
Thank you, teleworking. Tell them, Carl.
So bring that technology up to today. I mean, well, up until 2 years ago, I know one of the challenges that most companies had is that it was very hard for them to transition to remote working because for a couple of reasons. One, the process was designed for you to be physically present in the office. Secondly, is that the network systems, if some business having a sophisticated enough at all, did not have the capability for you to work outside of the network, because connecting to your network remotely presents a whole set of
cyber risks
and stuff like that. So a lot of businesses, their security was set up for you to be on the inside, not from the outside.
Carl, let me jump in there. I won't jump in there, Carl. So I understand, right? And what I would respectfully indicate is that you may have been subject to a lot of the brainwashing. I'll tell you why. If there's a cybersecurity specialist in this room right now, right? And if there isn't, that's fine. Y'all could fact check me on this, right? Now you heard your statement was that it was built for you to be inside the office, right? I can say to you unequivocally, in 2006, when I was at City Trust Bahamas Limited, a subsidiary of Citigroup, okay? You have denial of access. There are two types. There's denial of access, right? You ready? And the denial of access speaks about the fact that you cannot access your normal scenarios. Your normal scenarios imply that you're speaking about access in your physical realm. So you now move to the second denial, okay? And that denial requires you to be outside of your physical presence. So on at least 2 times a year, this is what we did. 2 times a year, hey, we're in the office, and yes, the system goes down in the office. So what happens? You move your system from the server that was running in the Bahamas, and then it runs in another jurisdiction once all of the CBDC environments were approved by a central bank, right? Because we were regulated by the central bank, right? That's one. Or let's say you can't get there, Nassau wipe out. Let's use a real life example. Grand Bahama wipe out, Abaco wipe out. So what happens? The same server access is moved, right, Carl? And then you physically move to Cayman, or you physically move, right, to the highest point of the island, or you physically move to New York. These things were tested twice a year. And then we actually made brand new in 2020.
Yes.
Help me.
My disclaimer, I'm in the information technology space.
So you know what I'm talking about. Go on.
Yes. But then but there's a small caveat to that though. Yes, you will have your remote servers.
Yeah, your redundancy.
So your redundancy.
I was trying to keep it simple. Go on.
No, I follow you. But at the same time, is that those networks were still designed for you to be on the inside. Because when you have, I might be preaching to the choir here, but I'm just making the point and for the others that the remote connection to a network from the outside is the setup is a little bit more complicated, or you have to pay a lot more attention to when, let's say, if you're inside the network and let's say you connect a multi-island, you're in Nassau's network and you're connected to a server that's probably located in Freeport, Andros, or whatever. It's a little bit different. But I'm not gonna argue with that because we can go back and forth in this all day.
Sure. Sure.
But I have a question though, is that you mentioned about in terms of the risk, where paying somebody 6 figures versus with the same qualifications, paying somebody that same amount of 40,000. The difference would be is that the 6-figure guy, you can get the answer in 2 seconds. The other guy,
Possibly.
but that is what you're paid in for.
Yeah.
You get it. You're not waiting for research. It's there. But then my question is though, is that when it comes to the hiring process though, is that I've seen many companies will put out a job ad, the list 10 requirements. One of them would be a bachelor's and experience, but then you have a situation, let's say 3 years experience, but then you have a situation where the person may not have a bachelor's, but he has 20 years experience within the field. But then the employer will say, well, nope, you don't have a bachelor's, so you can't come.
Yeah. So
what's the employer's risk in terms of hiring somebody who only just has the 20 years experience, but no bachelor's?
Okay, so I thank you for that conversation. And I put up my disclaimer that again, I'm speaking in my personal capacity. Okay, but I would also say that this is where governance, risk, and compliance professional comes in. Okay. Again, remember I talked about best practice, right? Studies and reported in the media would show, oh, I feel rough talking about KPMG. But anyway, in the UK, it was reported in 2021 that KPMG changed their access requirements, right? For their junior auditors to be or experience and or degree. Because the studies have shown, right, that degrees indicate that you have the capacity to learn. But if you've already learned, why should not somebody have an opportunity? That's just in 2020, 2021. There have been other consultancy organizations of repute that have allowed what they call what did we call it back in the day? Student learning, right? Where they actually pick you up from high school and you learn on the job and complete your degree on the job, and you don't have to wait. So that when it's time for you to look for full-time employment, and they ask that very weird question that you have a master's degree and 5 years experience, but I just finished my master's degree, I'm in the whole $120,000, $160,000, where I get my experience from. You know, they helped to mitigate, because in risk management, you only can mitigate, you can't eliminate risks. And then the end result is your residual risk. And then you say, okay, do I have the risk tolerance for what is the residual risk? So employers, let me talk like my wife, right? Employers have to employ based on the needs of their institution more so than the methodical ticking a box of what a person should have. So like my wife always says, the persons who are going to their recruiting need to have the autonomy to be agile enough, right? To be emotionally intelligent in their interviews versus just looking for IQ. They're the smartest persons in the world that can't work with nobody, and they need to sit in a room. You know, studies have also shown that the persons with the C averages in university and high schools tend to be the CEOs versus, you know, people don't like to hear that, but it is what it is. I beg to find studies that show otherwise.
Example, Bill Gates.
Yup. And we can go on and on with examples. Yes, and see, Rodney, because of Nadia, he's indicating hiring practices have evolved. But if we're talking within the Bahamian context, it's a little bit harder. It's a little bit, that it is what it is. You know, I can make it all light. You know, I listen to Rodney sometime on the way home at 4 o'clock, right? Rodney Buggers, you know, the people mad at him because, you know, he was called to be a consultant and he don't have the educational requirement to be a consultant. Well, what require? I mean, it all depends on what you're consulting on. right? What is your problem and who is prepared, who has the right set of skill sets to fix it? You know, I could talk about this all day, but yeah.
Hey, I have a quick question before you go.
Yeah, right.
How, I totally agree with the Seven back in the presentation, talking about how, especially HR persons need to be at the table, C-suite wise.
Yeah.
How far are you, because I know even in South Florida, I recently came across a person who was a chief person officer, a CPO, a chief people officer, because they realized how important it was, especially after the Great Resignation, how important it was to have that person at the table. How far do you think we are here in the Bahamas and the Caribbean alike to having one of those persons at the table?
So this is what I would say. Be very careful on how I answer this question, right? We are making strides in that regard. So in conversations and networks, I've seen where there are leads of HR sitting around the table, not just to hit a board report out every quarter as per regulatory requirement, but to be a part of strategic decision-making. I've seen it. However, it is not the norm. And the reason why it's not the norm, and a lot of HR professionals don't like to hear it, HR professionals speak in the emotional. You have to move that conversation, okay, locally. You have to move that conversation from the emotional, okay, to how it impacts your business, again. So it's the same thing straight across the board, okay, and how it financially will be positive or negative for me to be a part of this conversation. All right. I've seen, however, in the more developed countries, that it is standard for heads of HR to be actively involved in strategic management. And it's more the norm there. How far we, think about this, a lot of leaders said that you couldn't work remotely, and then we had to work remotely in pandemic, and now it's working, eh? As a matter of fact, if you read the newspapers, you'll see it. A lot of businesses are making more money in the pandemic. Let's look at the business part of it, okay? What are your operational costs? Your BEC, right? Your BEC bill high. Well, that BEC bill going way down if you're in the house and you're giving your employees no COVID adjustments to help pay their BEC bill that going up with their children home. Let's look at the finances, the bottom line getting a little bigger as those big fixed costs, those big costs, get a little lower, and you amortize certain fixed costs out of the system that you're already prepared for anyway. And I'm not talking about my head. If you follow the news, you'll see it.
So
Yeah,
question.
I totally agree. Oh, sorry. One more thing before now I stop talking, because me and D can talk all day for you. Why do you think it's such a rush back for persons to run from that model, seeing that is tangible data to prove it is work? Why the rush back for certain people?
It's because data seems very far-fetched in certain business spaces. I'm a proponent, and there's several proponents, that there should be database approach to management, to anti-money laundering, to human resource management, straight across the board. However, that goes against what is ingrained within some of our institutional leaders. And I don't mean institutional leader, I mean institutional leaders. In other words, leaders that have been in place for a mighty long time and are not necessarily susceptible to data. However, we have excellent persons within our community who are institutional leaders, who are understanding this data. It's just how much do they want to shift the paradigm at the risk of losing their momentum. I say I'm talking about something else. Okay, Raquel Wallace said, not just millennials, a lot of persons have been saying it, but the old guard. Actually, I have a lot of old guard who actually agrees with me The problem is, how do they mitigate the risk of losing their dividends by saying things that seem far-fetched and not aligned with everybody else who's sitting down in their room with them?
I think in many ways, the old guard is that they like to leave home and go to work so they can get away from all the issues at home. That's one way to look at it. But question, you gave an example of that fintech, where it's now a soft company, it's not a brick and mortar.
Yeah.
Do you see more of that happening going forward, where you would have soft companies, large soft companies,
Very
and
large.
not brick and mortar?
You mean like FTX? Very large soft company?
I'm talking about where normally you would have, like today, a brick and mortar of 50+ employees, all them inside of a building or scattered across a corner or something. Same concept, it's a soft company, but there's no central office per se. The office is probably a receptionist to receive mail, packages and stuff like that.
Correct. To hit the regulatory requirement as an office in the country. So I see it moving to that paradigm shift very quickly. I'm smiling. I have to be very careful on how I speak. I see it moving there very, very quickly. What I don't want persons to miss, though, is that even with the technology that is driving fintechs, you still require human resource for input, right? And for a certain level of emotional intelligent decisions. Because the systems are working off of logic, and they're saying, yes, it's AI, and they're saying, it's learning and learning and learning. Yes, you're right. You're very right. But the truth be told, considering you're in the information security realm, the truth be told, we're still running off code that's 2010. And they're just building on that code. But they don't like to say that, it doesn't sound good for AI. So yes, I do see it happening, but I do see it happening with people involved. And I see a lot of companies, based on my research, adjusting to, for example, COVID adjustments in the form of finances, right? To assist, for example, setting up your home office, on an annual basis, and or making adjustment to salaries to compensate the fact that you'll have extra expenses at home. Or spending more money with insurance companies to ensure that there are mental health options available to their staff who need that proper adjustment between, as you said, you used to run from home 8 hours a day, 9, 10 hours a day, and come back and only have to worry about food and sleep. Now the school fee is going up, but nobody in the school, and you're remote all day. Sorry, that's
My
a bad
last
thing of mine.
question. I'm sorry, I like to ask a lot of questions. So in a setup like that, does that impact your business continuity plan?
Sure. Yes, let's bring it there. Sure.
No, but does it impact it or change it in any major way?
It does. It does. Your risks are now fluid, okay? And your risks are now shifting to risks related to, for example, business, the physical environment, security, right? And it's shifting to network security, okay? It's shifting to the fact that you need two-factor authentication that may seem the norm for certain professionals, but novelty to others, okay? You require the VPN connections. Again, that's cost. Again, that's trying to explain to C-suite and boards the importance of, I can't see something, but it can impact my business, okay? But then you see the Colonial Pipeline and you realize, oh, it impacts your business, eh? Okay, I listened to a presentation by Deloitte's a local partner, head partner for risk advisory, Lawrence, when he was speaking to the IIA, and he said some of their statistics, most recent statistics locally, right, note that there are persons who are being impacted in the hundreds of thousands of dollars on breaches, but because of reputational risk and and the lack of regulations that require them to report, you don't know.
You could say it for what it is. They paying the ransomwares.
Exactly, and they paying in Bitcoin. What you say? But then
That's
a different
correct.
but that's a different story, right? I just like to tell you guys, people scaring people about coins, that's a whole other topic, right? The coin is running off a blockchain. Blockchain is more secure than some of the most sophisticated, let me stop there. Yeah, y'all get my point.
I thought you were gearing up for your third presentation there.
This is the cool part about governance, risk, and compliance people, you know? They pull from so much. It's required. It's required.
I can give my IT version of that, okay?
So who's that speaking? So I get IT version of?
That's a boss speaking.
Harry, you know him, right?
Yeah, I know that guy. I know that guy. I know that guy. It's been a long time from that giant world. I know that guy. Yeah.
Wow, I have just been listening and gathering a whole lot of information. Thank you so much for sharing, and thanks for all the questions, you know, that helped to bring all that information out. I mean, this was great. I thank you so much for, you know, sticking around to give us your second 20 minutes.
Yeah. I can imagine this will happen on and off throughout the Caribbean over the next 3 months as I complete this tour, you know?
Yes, yes. Well, I've been getting messages from our satellite club, Cat Island. They want to make sure we book you like soon. So yeah, you'll be hearing from us again very
No
soon,
problem.
very soon. Okay.
Always happy to help. And this is what Rotary means. Again, let me say this is what Rotary means business is all about. It's having these type of discussions that will
Yes.
cost your company an arm and a leg. You know, some of the consultants may kill me for giving me this information, but I'm telling you everything, but I'm not necessarily indicating how it's done.
Right.
How
Okay.
it's done, please call a professional consultant like Mark does, okay? Like Pineapple Consultancy, of which LaShant and I own, to have real conversations about how.
Good point. Good point. Should we end on that note and let someone else has a very pressing question or concern they would like for our Derek to respond to?
I just want to thank Derek for the free ads that I heard my name a couple times.
Mark, anything less would be uncivilized.
Thank you, Derek.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I can tell you, him and his partners, you know, took a chance on me, a young guy. Threw me into the deep water at Cabo Bahamas to do accounts payable. Lord have mercy. I do recall that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Thank you. Thank you again, Derek. Thank you so much. And we will definitely be sharing the recording of this presentation. I mean, this is some great information, you know, that we cannot just keep to ourselves. So thank you so much. Thank you all for staying on, you know, and if we do have the contacts with Derek, if, you know, there's anything else you want to talk to him about. But we will end our parking lot now. Okay. And we will hopefully see you all next week. Thanks again for tuning in.
Have a great one, guys.
Good day all.
All right. Take care.
All right, good day.